soft ball on the bottoms of your feet. This is a very abbreviated. Okay, let's try the mini softball foot treatment. You're going to be using the large, soft melt method ball to gently massage the bottoms of your feet to rehydrate the connective tissue that starts at the bottoms of the feet and travels upwards through the body. We're going to start with a body scan assessment. You'll be standing with your feet about hip distance apart, and the tops of your feet are even right and left. From here, I'd like you to stand up nice and tall, shoulders are over your hips, eye gaze is straight ahead, and your arms are resting by your sides. If you're comfortable, you can close your eyes, but if you prefer, you can keep them open. Use your body awareness to notice how your body feels in this neutral position. Notice the joints of your body. Notice if you're holding any tension, if you feel any discomfort or pain. Just notice. Notice if you have more weight on one area of the bottom of your foot. Perhaps you're standing on the balls of the feet or back on your heels. Notice if you're on the outside of the foot in supination, or you're more towards the inside of the foot by the ball of the foot in line with the big toe. And that could tell you that you're in pronation. Just notice how you feel. You can scan up the legs, notice the thighs above your knees, and ask yourself if you're feeling like they're held under tension. Come back to the gluteus muscles, your butt, and just notice if you're holding that under tension too. You'll repeat this assessment after you've done the treatment so that you can see the changes that you're making by rehydrating the connective tissue and working through the nervous system. From here, I'm going to take my ball onto the floor and I'm going to start with my right foot and I'm going to put my foot on top of the ball so that the ball is in the center of my foot in position number 1. I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on my foot and I'm going to gently rock my body from side to side. And I'm taking my foot off the ball and pressing it into the ball. Working into position 1, we're just finding tolerable pressure and we're just noticing how the nervous system reacts. Some people have really dry tissue here, so don't put too much weight on that right foot if it makes you feel uncomfortable. From here, I'm going to take my ball and I'm going to move it to position number 5. And I find that by moving my foot so that the ball comes to the bottom of the arch of the foot just before my heel. And I'm going to take a focused breath and I'm going to press my foot onto the ball and just take a breath. From here, I'm going to ease my body weight off of the ball, putting most of my weight on my left foot so I can move into the glide. I'm keeping the ball at position 5, and I'm slowly bringing the ball from side to side. I'm going to glide onto my heel by moving my foot forward, and then I'm going to bring the ball back into position number 5. This is called a glide, and you'll be using this language again as you move into other techniques. From here, put a little bit more weight on that right foot. So you've flattened out your ball, and you're going to go ahead and shear, which is scratching your foot against the ball, breaking up dry and viscous fluid that accumulates right here in the bottom of your foot at position number 5. From here, you'll hold that still, take a focused breath, and take your foot completely off the ball. From here, we're going to go into position number 2 at the big toe mound. So I'll place my ball right underneath the knuckle of my big toe. It doesn't poke between my toes. It's not showing on the outside of my foot. I want that ball to push the knuckle of my big toe up to the surface of my skin. From here, I'm going to look at my foot and I'm going to move my right foot forward so that the ball comes back towards my heel. And I take a step forward so that I come up on my heel on the left side. From here, I'm going to return the ball back to the ball of my foot. I'm now in line with my second toe knuckle. I'm going to push down on the ball and bring my right foot forward, and I'm taking a step as I do that. I think about bringing my rib cage right over my foot as the ball comes back to my heel. I'm now in my third toe knuckle at position number 2, and I'm going to step forward. And as you get better and more comfortable with this, you can look across the room as you bring that ball back to your heel. That would be ideal. Go ahead and bring the ball into position number 2 at the fifth knuckle and go ahead and bring it back towards your heel. And I always tease and say, if you have a sixth toe, keep going. But we're going to go ahead and do it just a few more times now, anywhere you like. We're moving the fluid from the ball of the foot back to your heel. We're rinsing the foot. From here, we're going to move on to friction. I'm going to have a light touch on that right foot, and I'm going to scribble that ball all over the place on the bottom of my foot. This is really lovely for the lymphatic system. It helps to move fluids through the body. I want my thigh to shake a little bit as I do this. Avoid the temptation to press your left hip out as you do this. And if you need to touch a piece of furniture or your countertop, go ahead and give yourself permission to do that so you can have a nice alignment through this left leg. From here, I could take both feet down onto the floor and give myself a quick assessment. Just notice if you're making some changes on this right side. I notice that my right leg just feels a little heavier into the floor, and I feel like I have a seamless connection from my foot through the rest of the leg. I'm not so aware of my ankle, my knee, and my hip. From here, let's do the same thing on the left side. So I'm going to take that ball again at position number 1, and I'm going to just gently tip my body weight from side to side. I'm just going to press the ball into the center of my foot. If you have any pain, then I want you to be particularly attentive. Don't cause any pain. Sometimes I tell students to actually step back with that right foot, and it gives you a little opportunity to not put so much weight on that foot with the ball underneath. From here, I'm going to settle my feet into the floor, just take a focused breath, and I'm going to move the ball to position number 5. So that's going to go a little deeper into the arch of my foot, almost on my heel, but not quite. Think about putting your foot into a shoe so your heel is higher and the ball of the foot's into the floor. Take a focused breath and push down on the ball at position number 5. And then I want you to ease your body weight back onto your right foot so you've lightened the pressure on the left. And we go right into the glide. Keep your toes on the floor as you pivot on the ball of the foot to take your ball across position 5. And then you want to move the ball onto your heel by moving that left foot forward and then moving the ball back into position number 5, where you'll put a little bit more body weight on your foot and you'll give it a good scratch. The ball pushes a little deeper into position 5. Hold your weight steady and then ease your weight off the ball. From here, I'm going to come up to position number 2, where I'm going to rinse down the bottom of my foot. You can go ahead and take a look at your foot. Just make sure the ball's right underneath that big toe knuckle inside the ball of the foot. And if you want to, look across the room as you move that left foot forward to bring the ball back to your heel. Go ahead and do that for each knuckle and long bone in your foot. And you might be able to just see that I'm coming up on that ball of foot on the right side, transferring the body weight over my foot as the ball moves back towards my heel. I do that for each knuckle and long bone. And after I've done it 5 times, I'm just going to do it a few more times, pulling the fluid from the ball of the foot back towards my heel, called a rinse. Feels really nice. And from here, I'm going to do the last technique, which is friction. And I'm going to let that ball just lightly scribble on the bottom of my foot. I like to take that ball back underneath my right foot and do friction one more time right here. And then go ahead now and bring your feet in that parallel position, hip distance apart. The tops of my toes are even. Let's see if I can get myself a little straighter here towards the camera. There we go. My feet are hip distance apart. Let your arms just rest by your side, looking straight ahead. And I just want you to notice how you feel. Notice if you're pushing more body weight onto the balls of the feet, back on your heels, the outside of the foot, or the inside. Or does it in fact feel like the whole bottom of the foot that's supporting the weight of your body? Noticing your thighs, your quadricep, coming back to the gluteus muscles, noticing if you've let some of that energy go, which would be so much better for your nervous system. Those big muscles don't want to hold tension just to keep you upright and stable. Some students notice that they just feel like they're more relaxed here as we've worked through the nervous system. So, this was the mini softball treatment using the large soft ball, and I hope that you found it enjoyable.